Hi, I'm Erica. I found my phone and welcome to another video. Today, in honor of me recently getting into a lot of sad music, we are listening to Javelin from Sufjan Stevens. This album came out just under a year ago, and I already know it's him back in singer-songwriter mode post Carrie and Lowell about the passing of his late partner, who passed away 6 months prior to him releasing this album. So with the same vibes of A Crow Looked at Me or Carrie and Lowell, I know it's going to be a sad, emotional time, and I have found a time in which I can emotionally handle it. I got my tea ready, I got some tissues ready. Let's just get into it. Track number 1 is Goodbye Evergreen. You know I love you, Evergreen. Everything heaven sent must burn out in the end. Oh no. My girl had cancer. Okay, wake up moment. This is just a very chaotic time. I don't know what to follow. This is a very interesting way to do a round. Oh, well that's a different industrial sound. Oh, well now it's become something much calmer. Oh, these are some really pretty notes. So it was Goodbye Evergreen, and what a way to start this album. Oh gosh, it's gonna be a doozy, isn't it? The song and this album is generally probably going to be about primarily the passing of his late partner. It happened within 6 months of his partner passing. So I think that's going to be a big theme, and I think it starts here with him saying a farewell to Evergreen, you know, something that comes back every year. It is always green, it doesn't lose its leaves, it doesn't look like it's dead ever. And so it becomes this sense of constancy in your life, and maybe a partner is like that, maybe a family member is like that, maybe your friends are like that. And for that to be gone, yikes, I don't want to think about that. I've had some of my points of constancy snipped away, and it's not a good feeling, especially when you deeply relied on them, even if you did not know it yet. The song sonically is very interesting. It starts with a very classic singer-songwriter Sufjan moment, but then it explodes and it gets really intense, and then it branches back out to some calm, almost whimsical moments. Sufjan can definitely get very whimsical. I know that from some of his other works that I've become acquainted with. The whispery vocals that he's kind of known for from Carrie and Lowell, and he starts the album off here, were very familiar, but that middle part, I didn't know he was going to go there. But I think this idea of the scattered brain and also just some energy that needs to get let out. I don't know how often the energy will get let out on this album. I feel like Carrie and Lowell was just really sad and slow-ish and very much wallowing. And here, I think we're going to have that, but we already had some more intense production, so I'm intrigued to see if that production matches the tone, if there's going to be some more, I don't know, I want to say lashing out, because that makes it sound like he's not only in pain, but is doing unhealthy ways to cope with it, which very well might be true, but I'm not going to speculate on that. It's his journey of healing. But I do wonder if it's going to be some more intense emotions here that are showed with more intense production, as opposed to the intense emotions shared in Carrie and Lowell that was met with fairly calm production. Track number 2 is A Running Start. Ooh, this is really pretty. If I imagine myself peaceful? Oh, is this a romantic song? Oh, that's sweet. Oh, whimsical sounds again. Oh, that was a way to burst. Oh. Slow it down. So that was A Running Start. Why does that one make me want to cry? This is in theory a happy song. I think it's just because we know the context. This is such a little cute romantic song about meanings and relationships and the start of them, but then also moving forward in the, oh my god, it's so cute. Oh, Sufjan. I'm so sorry. I really like the move of, I have my arms around my heart, basically to shield himself, guard himself from getting hurt in the relationship, and then his partner throwing his arms around his heart as if to say, "You're all I need," because he's opened up, and I was, oh my god, oh god, that just made me want to be in love, just for my heart to get broken. Why? I don't think I've ever had that feeling. Oh god. Like, I already do feel internally crying, which always happens before I get to the external crying. So, yeah, we're on track too. And this is the sweet song. This is such a sweet song. I want to listen to this more. I like this song. I can see myself actually listening to it. I don't listen to much from Carrie and Lowell because it's devastatingly sad. What am I supposed to get out of that? But here, maybe because it's about a lover, potentially. Uh, oh gosh, my heart aches. This is like young, sweet love. Yeah. I loved it. Very great song. Continues the motifs of those whimsical child vibes. I guess Goodbye Evergreen kind of moved us into a running start, so maybe it's helping the album flow a bit. Yeah. I'm terrified for track number 3. Will anybody ever love me? I guess we'll find out if my fear is justified. We're starting very acoustically. Oh, gosh. Masochistic. This is dark. Not for sport. God. Pledge allegiance to my burning heart. Okay, something's building in here. The percussion's gotten stronger. Choral elements coming out here. For good reason, without grievance, not for sport. To my heart. Ooh, I like this percussion hit. Ooh, what is developing here? So, will anybody ever love me? Okay, this song at the beginning wasn't my thing much. I don't like all of those torture methods being outlined. It's not my favorite thing to listen to. I get that they are religious references. I am not that religious. So that is where Sufjan and I are going to differ on that. He's going to think very much within religion because I know that he is very religious. He definitely had songs in Carrie and Lowell about religion, and I think he's going to have it here as well. And yeah, I'm not that way. I'm not thinking in those terms generally when it comes to when anybody ever loved me. Does God love me or something like that? That's not something I'm generally concerned about on a daily basis. I hope if God exists that they do love me because I do my best to be a good person and I try to do everything I can to do what's right. So at first I wasn't feeling it, but it gets better. The transitions, my God, they're good. They're really strong. They are very powerful. And oh, those questions are just, yeah, will anybody ever love me? For good reason, without grievance, not for sport. Gosh. Will anybody ever love me? Oh my God. That is such a big question. And I know he had issues with his family, and now his partner, he doesn't have in his life anymore. So I think he feels genuinely, hey, will anybody actually love me? And I guess in every season also meaning that they're going to live on throughout the end of his life as well, which, you know, you never know. You gotta appreciate every day for what it is. And yeah. Gosh, okay. This song, production-wise, really moved me. The questions and the chorus moved me. I'll see whether I get over the religious themes that are very poignant and very prominent throughout. It's not a bad thing for him to be using religion here at all. It's just not something that I'm going to connect with. And so it might take away from me being able to enjoy the song. I thought it was going to be a song that's just too sad. It's not too sad. No, it's just very existential crisis territory. And I can handle an existential crisis, but existential crisis specifically in the name of religion is not the type of existential crisis that I tend to have. Track number 4 is Everything That Rises. Turn yourself around to see what once was there. Ooh. Everything that rises must converge. What does that mean? Did you say Jesus lift me up? Oh, is this another religious song? The choir is really here to stay, and I'm not complaining. So that was Everything That Rises, and I'm going to need your help with that one. It's about religion. I looked it up, and they just have a lot of religious metaphors. I don't really know what's going on and how that necessarily will claim to the understanding of the song. I see that there are a lot of references, and I get that those references exist. I'm not fully understanding where it goes in the narrative that he is trying to say in the song. It did feel very hymn-like, and that it felt very Christian. It felt almost like a worship song, but maybe let me think spiritually with God for a moment. Maybe not we love God, we praise God, but like, can we talk God? The song didn't necessarily connect with me all that much, but maybe in headphones, the sonics will work its magic. The sonics were very decent. He is a very good producer, singer, songwriter, all of that. He is very good at what he does, but this song doesn't really leave that much of an impression on me on my first listen. Track number 5 is Genuflecting Ghost. Oh, so like this plucking. Ooh, well done. Give myself as a sacrifice again. Oh, choir coming back. And I really like their contributions right here. Genuflecting Ghost, I kiss no more. Oh, it's about him. Ooh, I love a good wind chime moment. So that was Genuflecting Ghost. And yeah, this song, sorry, I don't know, just while I was reading the lyrics, somehow it just started. But in Genuflecting Ghost, he, I think, is pleading with God or a higher being to let his lover live, because I think he's really surrendering himself and offering himself as sacrifice, maybe to take the loved one's place, or to be like, you know, you can insult me, you can do all these bad things to me if it means that I get to still have him in my life. Ah, gosh, that's just so, oh God, it's sad. I feel like if I listened to a running start again right now, it'd be over for me. We wouldn't get through the rest of the album, but gosh, this is sad. Yeah, even though it's very religious, and it's also talking about relationship with and religion, I think it's hard. I don't know. For me, I've always felt like very religiously leaning people who are in the LGBTQ plus community. Y'all are valid. I just am confused. I understand just regularly going to church or synagogue or whatever, but I don't understand the deep devoutness to it, while also being your most authentic self. I also don't believe that in any religion, the queerness is actually sinful. It's just misinterpretations of books. I do find it a bit confusing dealing with queerness as well as religion at the same time. It just is something that I have not had to experience. I did not grow up religious, and I've grown up in a very queer household. I have 2 moms. I am queer. Like, it just isn't something that really passes my brain. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, obviously. But it's true that I still don't fully understand what the perspectives are of those people. So I think I'm emotional because I'm feeling for Sufjan on this song, but I don't really agree / understand how he's going about. I get being very emotional, and I think I would turn to a spiritual being. I do believe in a higher being. I just don't believe in a specific organized religion. So I'm not saying Jesus or anything like that. I'm just saying, you know, I have a God and guardian vibes, and, you know, I believe good things happen to good people. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm very spiritual on that, but I would be pleading, but I don't know about the sacrifice and all of that. I think is also just a very deep commitment that I don't think I found with a person yet. So I think that's another way it's not as relatable. But the song, like all the others, are very well made. I don't know how much I'm going to return to this. I think, like everything that rises, it's going to be something that I need to hear in headphones again to see how it makes me actually feel. Track number 6 is My Red Little Fox. I drink till it's lost. Don't start with your camouflage. This is just normal chimes. Fun. Ooh. Leave it to Sufjan to add some interesting percussion to every song. So that was My Red Little Fox. And that was interesting. I like the production, as always. He's always doing some good percussion work on this project. And I can really appreciate that. I was a percussionist. I love a good percussion moment. It's so confusing having these religious metaphors. I don't think I'm prepared academically for this work. I didn't read the book. I haven't even seen the movies. Yeah, this is confusing because a lot of these references of like Kiss Me with the Fire of God, I was like, okay, like, oh, just passionate. But no, it's like actually a thing about communication or something like that. Again, I don't want to misspeak because I don't want to offend anyone who is watching who may be religious. It's not my intent to offend. If I do, that is an accident and I apologize. But I do not know much of what is going on when it comes to these religious references. I will say something that really confuses me in this specific song is how he's like, let's not be for wanting is a sin. But then a lot of the song is technically commands. Kiss me like this, jump in. All of these are commands, things that he is interested in doing. Let's do this. Yeah, that is still wanting to do something. So I think there is contradiction there, and I'm sure there is something intentional with that. I feel like sometimes we use religion to bog us down in ways that don't need to bog us down. And I think also the idea of the kiss me and all of this jump in and experience life and all these things that could in theory be sinful, it's definitely something that I don't find sinful, but it's also something that is not something I'm interested in doing while hearing a religious sermon. I don't experience that combination often. If I go to church for someone, or I go to a funeral, or I go to something that is tied to religion, I am the opposite of any romantic or physically intimate feeling ever. I'm absolutely, it's like I've never experienced them once in my life. So it's hard for me, especially in this song, of like the kiss me and jump in, and I don't know if that's jumping in into anything else, but yeah, it's hard for me to feel the sense of being merry and doing a lot of exciting and potentially sinful things in the context of also just being very religious. I think that is a disconnect that, again, as I mentioned before, I experienced. So I don't really know what to make of this song content-wise, but sonically still doing its thing. Track number 7 is So You Are Tired. Oh, we're getting an intro here. Of us? You're tired of us? Oh no. 14 years. You're seething with laughter. Ooh. There's a man still in love with me. God, did they actually break up? I returned to death. Gosh. So that was So You Are Tired. Is that what, like, was the relationship going to end regardless? That's how I read it. And it doesn't say on Genius Lyrics about that. No one suggests that whatsoever. Still, how is this not like a song also about shortcomings in the relationship itself? I don't see how it's not. We're tired of us. You're tired of me. Yeah, you could be medically not doing so great and you might be tired. But the fact of being invisible and no matter what he does to try to please, he'll never be seen in a relationship. Oh God, this this sucks. It reminds me of my ex. My ex is very much alive, but I still relate to this song. So I feel like it also has to do with a relationship ending or having issues. The idea of, you know, this tension in a relationship, and gosh, he's really feeling the brunt of it. The song is beautifully constructed. The lyrics are beautifully constructed. I have mad respect for this song. I will probably listen to this song. It's gonna make me really freaking sad. I nearly cried on this one too. But I think I did feel that emotional weight because it felt like it was more related to me. It had nothing to do with religion, really, at all. And I think that was one of the reasons why it was a lot more helpful for me to understand what was going on here. I feel for Sufjan in the song. I feel for his partner too, because his partner passed away. And I think there were references of the when you already know it's done, even though I was still in love with you. I don't know if that's about the end of their relationship or the end of his life, which could have been just both at the same time. But yeah, it's a tough song. And I really appreciate Sufjan being vulnerable. I see me in this song. So yeah, I feel seen, and I definitely feel like this song could be something relatable for me, and I hope in the future will not be more relatable for me. Track number 8 is Javelin, To Have and To Hold, partially the album title. Oh, he threw a javelin at them. Oh. So that was Javelin, To Have and To Hold. And what a powerful short song. This feels like a very neat continuation of So You Are Tired, with this idea of, you know, Sufjan having felt a certain type of way about how his partner had been to him. And I don't know, in my head, we're thinking, oh, you know, there's this tension in their relationship and he's throwing the javelin that he didn't mean to throw right at him, but thankfully he had evaded it. But it's not just evasion because, you know, Sufjan wasn't the best at throwing it, but it's also the fact that his partner's leaving, that his partner fell over the rocks and became no longer with us that way rather than through Sufjan's action. Unless it is a sense of guilt that because he was evading the javelin, that's how he perished. And I just looked it up, and Sufjan's partner's reason for no longer being with us is not public, which I respect privacy. But if it was something that was more sudden, I can see that guilt weighing on Sufjan a lot more than if it was being sick for months, for example, where you know the end is going to come at a very slow and agonizing pace. But if you are not expecting it at all, it can be worse. I don't know. It might depend on the person. When loss happens to you, there's not that many silver linings. So I'm not going to speculate on that further. But especially if he didn't realize that his partner was going to pass away so soon, you know, he might not have aimed the javelin anywhere close to him. Now he keeps that guilt with him. And that's terrible. I feel terribly sorry for Sufjan. I hope he is doing okay and that he's healing. Track number 9 is Talk. This is an 8.5 minute song, and it is explicit. I don't know if it's just because of the title or if there's any other things going on. We will find out. Okay, an 8.5 minute song gets an intro. I understand. Oh, woke. I just feel pain in my chest. Oh, falsetto moment. I don't want to fight at all. I wouldn't either. And we're really just feeling feelings. No, just one sound. So that was Talk. And the Genius annotation just has a frowny face. Mood. This is a beautifully done song. Does it need to be 8.5 minutes? Probably not. But it is gorgeous for 8.5 minutes, so I can respect that. The song is all about how they'll always love them and how they want them to hold them tightly and how they don't want to fight anymore. And I said they in that because I actually can't tell. I feel like it could be from either perspective of the lover or from Sufjan. Sufjan saying, oh, I don't want to fight anymore with you because, you know, we're at our limit and I will always love you, but I cannot live with you. I cannot tell if it's I can't live with you as in I'm going to leave this mortal plane or you are going to leave this mortal plane. I don't know. I think the fact of the hold me tightly and hold me closely, I assume if it's a medical thing, and again, I really don't want to speculate on cause of passing, but I just think it's relevant here if we're talking about an album that's dedicated to someone's late partner that is specifically about their experiences with said partner. We're talking about atrophy and weakness and all of that. The hold me tightly, hold me closely is really something that the healthy person would be able to do. So I feel like it could come from the partner, and I think especially with that outro, it feels very reminiscent of, I don't know, a rising, maybe rising heading toward the light. It is very luminous production, I feel like. And so I think this could be including the moment of really the passing in the story. And yeah, if we talk about the whole narrative of a running start from going from, you know, first love to how this relationship ends, it's a really sad one. So I get that it deserves a grandiose ending. I really wish it had a different title. I think that is my main gripe with it, because a song this beautiful and about such a moment in a relationship, such an integral moment in Sufjan and obviously his partner's life, I think it deserves a better title than that, unless he's being cynical about it and saying, oh, all this I will always love you and all of that, it's just talk and doesn't actually mean anything, which I don't believe based on what Sufjan has shared with us and how much he's poured his heart and soul into this, that he would really think that. So I really don't understand why the title is the way it is. If someone can let me know, let me know. But yeah, I wish the title was different. To me, with this title, it really does sound like he's bitter at his partner and cynical about the whole deal. And I just don't feel like he is. He might. I mean, he is. But I think it's a complex web of emotions. Because So You Are Tired and Javelin, where he clearly is throwing the javelin for a reason. I think he does, to some degree, have emotional labor and frustrations with his partner, but I think it's a bit complicated now that the partner's passed away. That said, I still don't like this title for it. It's not me not wanting to curse. I curse all the time in my regular life. I'm just trying to keep the YouTube algorithm and YouTube ad guidelines happy. That's why I don't really curse on this channel. But I think the title, I don't know, it just does a disservice to all the hard work of the song and all that. Like, this is the title that you hear on some rap beef, or just a fun song for the club. I don't really think this title belongs here, and so I wish it was a little bit different. I don't have a specific title to give you, but really any other reference to the song would probably be better. Track number 10, last track on this album, There's a World. Have you found it? What? We'll leave you all alone. No one else has your heart. So it was There's a World, and what a way to end this album. This is apparently a cover from Neil Young. So yeah, that's interesting to bring it 50 years into the future. And here we are, there's a world you're living in. And it's no one else has your part, not no one else has your heart, as I thought it was, because that made it more romantic. But it's that each person's living, I guess, their own life. And you may interact with each other, but at the end of the day, I guess, we are leaving, we are gone. The different people exit your life at some point, and they'll leave you all alone. This is a sad song, but it also sounds happy, which is very strange. I'm very confused about what the meaning of the song originally, / Wayne Sufjan's putting it in this album. I don't know. Give me your thoughts down in the comments below, because I'm just confused about it. The production makes it sound happy, and like there could be some good things that are happening, like going to heaven, and you know, in the future we'll end up together and everything happens for a reason, and it's a good reason at the end of the day, hopefully. But it could also be a very cynical approach, which, given other songs on this project, that could be plausible as well. That said, we have finished this album, and My heart goes out to Sufjan. My heart goes out to his late partner. My heart goes out to anyone who was cared about either. This is a sad album, for sure. It's different than Carrie and Lowell. Yeah. I think it's because he's been able to exercise his singer-songwriter jobs before with Carrie and Lowell that makes what he feels comfortable sharing different here. Maybe more so or less so. I don't know. Carrie and Lowell is such a depressing project. This has a lot of amazing instrumentations, arrangements, productions, and I know that Sufjan Stevens is pretty much the main person who did all of that. So congratulations, Sufjan. You made an album, self-produced everything, and it sounds good, and it's powerful, and it's raw and vulnerable. All kudos to that. And I think it's that lush production and also the relevance of it being a partner that he's lost, and also just, you know, relationship struggles that I will find a little more relatable than the passing of his mom to cancer. Thankfully, I have not had one of my moms pass away from cancer. I just knocked on wood. I have had other family members pass away from cancer, and it's not great, but it is not my immediate parent. And I also don't have a lot of religious trauma. Really none at all, aside from the general religious trauma that just being an American in a country where it's, in theory, separation of church and state, but doesn't mean our laws don't reflect a certain religion. I think that made me not as interested in returning to Carrie and Lowell for listening. I also don't really listen to a lot of sad songs on a routine basis, especially ones that are sad and slow and don't have a groove. I just finished reacting to Back to Black a few days ago, and some of those songs that are sad are sticking with me, but it's because of how groovy those songs are. I think Javelin having this lush production is going to work in its favor in terms of me wanting to return to the project. Not that Sufjan or really anyone is caring that deeply when they think about this project about whether I, in particular, am going to return to it. But I am glad that there is a Sufjan project that I could listen to more and actively seek it out and potentially derive enjoyment or comfort or something from it. It will probably not be in these religious songs. It will probably not be in the songs that are a little too raw for me or a little too sacrificial, a little too masochistic. Not all of that. It's really not my cup of tea. Also, songs about people not being alive is not necessarily a genre I like to go into, a content type I like to listen to. I don't know why 4th of July is still his #1 on Spotify. I don't get that. Can someone explain to me what they get out of listening to that? Maybe just a good cry. Understandable. But I think these religion songs are not going to be for me. The two sad songs are going to not be for me. But a lot of this can change if some good headphones listening happens. I will do my best to give it a very fair shake on that. But yeah, this is a emotional roller coaster of a ride. I also find it interesting that he has said, hey, this is a very important person in my life. A lot of positive things about him. But it does seem that a lot of this is really like, I will always love you, but gosh, there's a lot of struggles within this relationship. So You Are Tired, Javelin, My Little Fox, and his partner not communicating much in that. Yeah. Will anybody ever love me? That means that he doesn't feel like his partner did, unless it's just like in every season, well, you know, the seasons have come and gone. I think there's a lot of struggles on this project, and I appreciate Sufjan again for being very vulnerable. I, again, will have to take my time and see what songs will stay with me, resonate with me, and not be too much or too obscure for me to handle. Carrie and Lowell, I know, I had a very visceral reaction to it, and I generally was not about putting the top tier and other favorites. I do feel like the tone of that sounds still like a little too upbeat for this type of project. However, I will say here at the top are the standouts. The ones in the middle are songs that I might be into. Maybe the production's a little bit more better for me. And then songs at the bottom are just not really my thing, or ones I'm just not connecting with and not feeling like even the emotional or the production will help me really get something from it. And that's still not to say that it is a bad song or that you cannot derive something from it. It just means that for me, it's not for me. Again, if you like me being sad, like this video. Please comment down below to me to react to or do next on my channel. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already and you'd like to be. And thanks for watching. This is TurtleStormer. Catch you later.
It's